Yeah. Okay.
You see a big bearded man coming in.
There we go.
I think it's on.
You're on.
All right.
No, we're not powered up yet.
I just don't know how loud it'll get, so.
Yeah. These aren't powered up yet.
Oh, they're not?
Now. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, are they? Oh, the light's not on.
Oh. Do they have lights?
I
I
didn't
guess-
know the light came on.
Oh,
I guess-
maybe they don't.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good then.
Killing
I'm
me.
used to the ones with lights. I'm used to ones with lights. So
We're very low tech.
yeah, yeah. Where's my green light?
Okay.
The
Ready.
aliens.
Yeah.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Bethlehem Zoning Hearing Board. I'm Terry Novotnik. I'm the chairman, and I will be handling this meeting. To my left is Kara Ritter, who is a member of the board. Jessica Lee, who is also a member of the board. Our solicitor, Eric Schock, is to my right. The secretary for tonight's meeting is Darlene Heller, who is the director of planning and zoning. And next to her is Jean Genova, who will be our stenographer. There was 5 items on the agenda for tonight, but item number 4, 407B Spring Street, has been continued to the meeting, which will be held next month. So I think the word has gotten out to everybody that we're continuing that, but if you are here for that, go home.
Well, to comply, we have to announce the exact date.
Okay, and what is,
So what is that
November
exact
13th.
date?
The exact date is October 25th.
Thank you.
October.
October 25th, item number 4 will be heard in this room.
October.
Okay.
I missed.
There are copies of the agenda on the table to my left, and also there is a sign-in sheet there. So we will take the appeals in order as they appear on the agenda. The first one is that of 705 11th Avenue. Ms. Heller, could you read the particulars of the appeal?
Certainly, this is the appeal of Angel Vasquez for a dimensional variance to install a fence in the front yard that exceeds the maximum height. 4 feet is permitted, 6 feet is proposed.
Okay, you may proceed.
You want to sworn?
Yes. Would you please, anybody who's going to give testimony tonight in any of the cases, if you rise and be sworn in by our stenographer?
Yeah, for any of the matters.
Yeah, we'll take care of it at the
Stand up and
beginning.
Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stand up and,
Yeah, it's you. Yeah.
Are you,
Yeah.
are you going to testify this evening? Stand and raise your right hand,
Yeah.
please. Just swear by mighty God, the searcher of all hearts, that the testimony that you shall give in this proceeding should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and as you shall answer to God at the last great day. Do you say swear?
Yes.
May be seated.
all right, thank you. All right, now you may proceed.
Hello, my name is Cherise Vasquez.
Could
I
you spell
am
your first name?
yes, CHARISSE, and I am I came on behalf of my father, Angel Vasquez. He's a truck driver, so he is out of state, but he did give me the authorization to be here and represent him in our proposal. First, I want to say thank you foremost for meeting with me and being able to hear our proposal. Yeah. Can I just continue?
Yep,
Right,
mhm,
okay.
sure, yep.
So, yeah, like it was mentioned, we want to build a fence, the vinyl fence, the white ones, around our, well, not around our house, but in our, what we consider our backyard. So yeah, and at first they did tell us, only 4 feet was permitted, but we are trying to do a 6 feet proposal. And we have various reasons why, but the main reason for this proposal is because we have a dog and then we want to get an even bigger dog. And so I know just taking extra precautions, just from what I've seen before and like my observations in the neighborhood, there are many other dogs in the neighborhood that get walked and a lot bigger too. Some of them are much bigger, and just wanting to take those extra precautions. I feel that if we were to have a 4-foot fence, it wouldn't really prevent it. It wouldn't really protect as well in case if our dog were to jump over the fence. Like I said, we do want to get a bigger dog, so we're trying to prevent stuff like that, or even other dogs that might see our dog over the 4-foot fence. They can also jump. I know dogs just they get they get triggered by external stimuli too as well. So I've seen foxes before in our like around our neighborhood as well. So things like that, trying to just prevent like uh, any potential threat that could happen. And we just think it's better for the safety of our dog, and then the safety for us. And just again, we want to avoid any incidents that could happen with other animals and other external factors. And then alongside of that, I think looking at our blueprint, I was told that the way the zoning district sees the house is that this is our whole, because our front door is right here at the where it says the 40 feet. You guys view this as the front of our yard, which I understand that. To us, we have this deck and this patio kind of off to the side in the back of the house. We see this as like our backyard. So this is where we would let the dog loose. We have like a door that is connected to the kitchen. So whenever we're in there, we would obviously monitor and watch the dog from there. But this would be the area that we would let the dog out whenever they had to use the bathroom, whatever the case is. So yeah, that's why we are proposing this 6-foot fence instead of a 4-foot fence. And I'm willing to answer any other questions that you guys may have to the best of my ability. So sorry.
So yes, I do. I have one.
Yes.
This drawing at least looks to me, as a novice, that the yard is not enclosed by the fence. Or is it?
The yard,
The whole yard?
yeah. So back, are you talking about, I'm not sure if you're talking about the space.
Like,
where the.
Yeah, I think the question is on the frontage, on the boundary of your property that is opposite the boundary on 11th Avenue. It looks like the dog could run between the shed and the deck
yeah.
into the next yard.
So this, where the shed in the, where it says 8 feet, just to clarify, right? So that is, my dad wants to make those doors.
Okay, but go,
Oh.
keep going around.
Keep going around.
Yeah,
Over
so-
here?
So between the shed and the deck and the patio,
Oh,
why could the dog not run into the yard next door?
so those, I don't know why they didn't draw it in the blueprint, but there's actually trees that come and they're lined up together. And then the next door neighbor, they also have a fence that's right behind the trees.
Oh,
If
Okay.
that makes sense. They have, yes. So there's these big, tall,
Mhm.
I don't know if they're pine trees. I don't know. Sorry. But there's these big, tall trees that are lined up pretty tight. And then that neighbor as
Has
well
a fence.
behind our house has a fence. So yeah.
So the dog is secure in the backyard?
Yes, because where like I said, where the shed is at, and then where
Mhm.
the 8-foot, that's actually doors, so that would open and close obviously with a lock, and then between the deck and the patio, the deck and the shed, like I said, that's secured as well.
Okay, so then
Well-
if the dog came up along the side of the deck, why would the dog not be able to then run out to North Street?
Alongside of the deck. Sorry. So are you talking about?
Okay, so
right here?
hold the plan up with the writing correctly.
Yes.
It looks like, so let's say this person has a fence. Why would it be secure going this way?
Mhm.
The 42-foot side.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Right, yes.
yeah.
I mean, at my house, the tree also blocks that area. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Like those, I don't know how to explain it. Like those trees come up like right by where the deck and the patio like they meet, if that makes sense. So it's still kind of blocked off. I don't know if that's what you're asking.
I think what we're looking at is the to the left of the house where it says 42 feet. Could the dog run off the deck and then head toward West North Street and get out on it via the area where the 42-foot sign is?
No, the dog wouldn't be able to run off the deck. The deck is also like like it's also enclosed in that part, and like I said, the trees kind of line up right here to where there's not really much space for him or her to get through. I'm not sure if that's
You need to lose this question.
Yeah.
On the outside of it is where you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's more
sorry,
like-
I'm not sure.
It's
about-
more like we're looking at running
why don't we do this?
around the deck.
Why don't you approach?
towards
Okay.
the left.
And then the board member can show you the question. Because if the position is, we want to enclose this, we want to make it higher
Right.
to enclose the dog, I guess it only makes sense if the dog is truly enclosed.
Yeah, if
on
the
both
dog can
sides.
stay in
Exactly,
all the
exactly.
way around your
Yeah.
house.
So,
Yeah.
so
It
here,
looks like this is open, and it looks to us like this is open, but you already explained that the
There's a
neighbor
fence
has a
there.
fence. But what's happening on the West North Street side? Is that open?
No, that's what I was trying to say is like the
what-
trees line up right here. So this is also closed off too. Like we're right behind our neighbor, or our neighbor is right behind us.
oh, so the trees are on your property,
Yes.
the fence is on the
Yes,
neighbor's
Yes,
property.
that's what
Okay,
I
so
tried
the
to-
dog wouldn't be able to get in here.
Okay.
But how about
What
now
about here?
West North Street?
Is that a close?
This is gonna be a gate, she said. at
Yeah,
the
that,
three-
those
That'll
are-
be a gate
those are-
This
too.
black
yeah.
line is.
So you
Oh,
see
okay.
those, like little black
Right.
parts going,
Oh,
that's-
okay. They're both
those are
gates.
doors.
Oh, okay.
So so the question is, can the dog
Mhm.
run here out onto West North Street? We understand that there's some type of protection in the back.
Yeah.
How about on the West North Street side?
No, they wouldn't be able to run out.
And why would that be?
Why don't you draw it on there?
Like the
Because.
the trees are like the trees are like the sorry, I'm not
Looks like
the
a tree.
prettiest. But yeah, they're like this, if that makes sense.
And the dog cannot get
Yeah.
around.
And the dog can't get through the trees.
Mm-mm.
Because of the fence.
Okay, so the
Okay,
trees
so
are
Yeah,
that-
it meets like the dead. It kind of like meets like the dead.
That
I see
forms
it now.
that forms a barrier for
Yeah.
this area here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Now we're cooking. Okay, I'm good.
And then I think I think your application said somewhere that you thought other people had 6-foot high fences.
Yeah, so the house across from us
Uh-huh.
has a there's this wooden, but it's definitely taller than 4 feet. I'm assuming it is 6 feet. And then the house next to us and the house behind us also has like the 6-foot fence is what I would think. I didn't exactly measure it, but that's what it's definitely taller than 4 feet. So one of the things that we did write in our letter is that it would make the whole neighborhood kind of look more in unison. And it would be more appealing to the eye.
Okay, so to clarify, in the backyard, could they have put 6 feet if they had a backyard?
If they had a backyard, yes.
Okay, so the other neighbors probably have legal 6-foot fences.
Right.
Because they're in the backyard. You obviously are a corner lot, and that's creating the issue with
Yeah.
11th Avenue being your front yard.
Yeah, because they
Okay,
had told me that if our front door was
right?
right here, that would make this wouldn't be an issue to the zoning district. Like this would be considered
Because you'd
our
be
back-
behind the front of the house,
Yeah.
and it would be a backyard
Yeah,
then.
the problem
Right,
is
the house is set all the way back to the back of the property.
Okay.
So basically,
Exactly.
they lose a lot of land
Yeah.
in front of the house, yeah.
They lose a lot of land as front yard is
Right.
what happens. They
Right.
have
Everything's front yard.
everything, right. They have
Because the front's on North 11th and also Burton at the bottom of the
oh,
page.
yeah.
So there's 3 streets there. Burton's probably an alley, but
Yes.
still there's 3 frontages there.
Okay. All right, so for the purpose of the record, we'll make the application and the attachments exhibit 1. So, and then we'll make exhibit 2. Whose plan did she draw the trees on? Terry's?
Yes.
Okay, exhibit 3, plan with trees.
Very well drawn, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Yes, so there's nowhere where you could put a 6-foot fence on this property then, legally, because of the front, of the 3 frontages? Or very limited space?
Yeah, probably just back in this area between the deck and the shed where they already have the trees and the neighbor's fence.
Okay, against the neighbor's
Where they
fence
don't
is the
really
only,
need it.
where they don't even need it, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
I just have one question. You have the example here of the fence. Is this a true example of what the fence is going to look like?
Yeah, the vinyl, the white vinyl, yes, this is what we would be using.
Okay, very good. Do you want this?
Yeah, I think that was an attachment,
Yeah,
so it's part of A1.
Ms. Heller, do you have any other questions?
I do not.
Okay. Are there any interested in the parties in the audience who would like to question this? Seeing none, do you have any final comments to make?
No, just thank you for your time.
You're welcome. All right, we'll go off the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go outside.
Wow, okay.
I want to see if the aliens have arrived.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll come back. right?
Beam me up, Scotty.
Can't be having that. now. No beaming. Hit on you.
You know, I do like the social aspect of it, and it does keep me busy.
Yeah.
But I do a lot. I babysit 2 days a week. I do every day.
Eugene, we'll go back on record. Can I have a motion from a member of the board?
Yes, I move to approve the appeal of Angel Vasquez for a dimensional variance to install a fence in the front yard for 6 feet. And the conditions is that it be the vinyl fence that you showed us.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Heller, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Ritter,
Yes.
Mr. Novotnik.
Yes. Good luck with your project.
Thank you guys so much.
You may want to wait until you get a copy of the final written decision, which will be what, about 45 days?
Within 45
Within
days,
45
that's the
days,
limit.
you'll have a final copy
Okay.
of the decision, so.
Okay. Thank you guys so
Mhm.
much.
You're welcome.
All right, the second item on the agenda is that of 904 Weston Place.
Hello. Hi there.
Hello.
So I was here 2 months ago on a salon inspection. And then again, a month ago, here I am with another,
This is a different one, right?
a different one. this
Okay.
time, Yes.
Do you
I was gonna say.
specialize in hair
Yes.
salons? Is that
Identify
what-
himself.
He should.
Yeah.
Have him identify himself.
Can you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Well,
Mr.
let's have Darlene read the particulars of the
Okay.
appeal first.
Yeah, he talked already, though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
This is a submission at 904 Weston Place, an appeal of Mary Pontoski for a special exception to operate a major home occupation personal service salon, aka a beauty shop, as a home occupation.
So since you've already spoken, if you could identify yourself for the stenographer.
Yes, my name is John Lee. Phillips Donovan Architects. I'm an architect with that firm.
Okay, you may now proceed.
Thank you. And with me today is Mary Pontoski. And
Do you need me to spell my name?
For the stenographer.
Yes. Mary, Mary, Pontoski, Pontoski.
so first item, properly posting the property. And Mary, you posted the property on
September
What date?
18th,
at
1:37 p.m.
exactly. So here's the pictures of the posting. If you would like them. So Mary, you are the owner of the property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you buy the property?
We closed on August 11th.
And what was the intent when you purchased the property?
My husband and I were looking for our primary residence, our first house together. And we also were looking for somewhere that we can make my home salon as part of it, both by the State Board of Cosmetology. I've been, looking into that as well as zoning. So we found 904 Weston Place that has what we need to live there, start our family, and also has a separate entrance in the back area that also has its own bathroom, and it has the correct square footage for State Board of Cosmetology. So we decided to purchase this house and make it work for living and working.
Was there, and the unique features of this as far as the salon is concerned?
You're going to have to speak into the microphone.
Oh, okay. The unique features of this particular house is that back area, which is separate from the house, connected to, but separate from the house, and it's set up for a salon. I believe you all have floor plans,
We do.
and that clearly shows the salon in the rear. It has its own entrance and exit door on the side, has its own bathroom, and there's one connecting door to the main house. So it's clearly separated. On this drawing that you have also has the information regarding the salon use, the square footage of the existing house, total salon square footage, and the percentages.
And what is that number for the record?
The percentage of the salon is 21.7 square feet. I'm sorry, 21.7%.
Percent.
If the table says square foot, but yeah, little mistake there. That's why I'm an architect, not an attorney. So what I would like to do is talk about parking real quick. The existing house has a 2-car parking garage in the rear.
Right.
And that is set back from the existing rear alley and by approximately 17 feet. And we have enough space back there to put another off-street parking space for the salon purposes. Now, what's the plan just in case 2 people come at the same time? Or
Right.
what's the plan there?
So I do have an agreement. Adagio Restaurant on Pembroke is directly across the street from my house. I spoke with Anthony Spagnola, who is the owner there, and he and I have now a good business relationship. He told me that I'm able to utilize up to 2 parking spots from that the parking lot in his restaurant, which is right across from us. So they don't have to use on-street parking, although there's plenty available. So I have that written from him, and there's also a contact number if you'd like to speak with him about the conditions of that. Basically, they're open for dinner Wednesday through Saturday from 4 to 9 p.m. or 4 o'clock till maybe 10 or 11 p.m. And my hours aside from a Thursday night, don't really interfere with that at all. So we have the agreement that on Fridays and Saturdays, I would not be using that parking lot at all after 5 p.m. to not interfere with their dinner business hours.
All right, so we'll make the posting photo A1, and we'll make this off-street parking document A2.
Okay, now I'd like to go through some of your ordinances and requirements in order for you to grant a special exception. I'll try and make this quick. We did this 2 times in the last 2 meetings. So one of the first items regarding home occupation is such use shall be in the main building or one accessory building. In this case, we are in the main building, and that such use is no greater than 25% of the habitable floor area of the building. There is a finished basement underneath here. We did not include that finished basement in any habitable square footage. We got slapped on the wrist last time.
So you learned your lesson.
We learned our lesson last
Yes.
time. So
Like,
the square footage is only the first floor square footage, and we're at 21.7%. So we're well under that requirement. One accessory building may be used. In this case, we're not using any accessory building. Obviously, the existing garage is going to remain as their parking. The residential character of the building or lot shall be preserved. It's existing. They're not planning anything in terms of
No flashing lights. I'm just kidding.
no flashing lights, no neon. The existing character of the building is going to remain, the existing residential character especially. Now let's talk about employees. No more than one person who does not reside with whom may be employed. You're not planning on employing anybody,
Just me.
just her.
I like working alone.
And then signage on the property, when it gets around the signage, we realize we have to meet section 1320.08A9. And when we're ready, assuming that we get the special exception tonight, then we will submit for the signage as required. Next item, if the use will include a non-resident employee, and it goes on, we're not using a non-resident employee, irrelevant. Nature service surrender shall be types which are primarily and customarily provided to clients on an individual basis by appointment only.
No walk-ins. My schedule is by appointment only, and yeah, it's just me working there.
Okay. And you're not going to encourage any unscheduled customer visits.
No, I don't want people coming up to my house.
And retail sales, talk a little bit about that. You're not going to be advertising and,
No, I
people can walk
don't.
in off the street and buy.
Right. I
Product.
don't advertise for, no one's going to be walking in to buy product. I do have product that I sell to my clients who are just continuing their home care regimen as suggested at home. But I'm not going to be inviting people in to just shop in my store in the back.
Are you going to be having any bulk storage
No.
in there? I mean, obviously, you're going to have some storage of hair care.
I'll
products.
order my usual stuff, but it's just one person. It's not quite enough to order in bulk.
Okay. And that was another one of the requirements. Only minimal storage is required. You're not going to do any biological other medical testing there.
Nope.
Okay. You're not going to require delivery by tractor trailers.
Nope.
I mean, you pretty much are throw it in your car and away you go.
Mhm.
Okay. No equipment or machinery shall be permitted that produces noise, noxious odor, vibration, glare, electrical, electronic interference, hazardous substances, flammable, explosives. Obviously, none of that is going to be occurring at
No.
your salon.
And I don't do perms.
That's even better. No noxious odors.
Yep.
Home occupation should not be conducted in a manner that is perceptible to other residents between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. And as part of the zoning application, there was a letter that we wrote along. That letter does address most of these items, and in that letter, it also addresses the hours of operation. Wednesday, 10 to 6, Thursday, 12 to 9, and Friday, 9 to 4. And those hours are of operation, obviously, are within the required or outside of the area, the times that it's discouraged. Tutoring and instruction shall be limited to a max 3 students at a time. That's not applicable. She's not going to be doing any teaching. You're not allowed to have any non-resident employees. We've already addressed that. No funeral homes, medical doctor, chiropractor. None of that is occurring. And that is it in terms of the requirements for a special exception, as I understand it anyway. Now, I just wanted to touch real quickly on your ordinances 1325, where it talks about powers and duties, general requirements. And I just want to make sure that there are no issues here that are going to prevent you from granting this special exception. And the things that are required regarding proposed use and location be that it's in accordance with the City of Bethlehem Comprehensive Plan, consistent with the spirit, purposes, and intent of this ordinance. Obviously, we are within those requirements. Another one is in the best interest of Bethlehem, the convenience of the community, the public welfare, and be a substantial improvement to the property in the immediate vicinity. Why do you feel that that's the case? I mean, you're providing a good service.
Yeah, I also care a lot about the environment, so I actually pay a service to recycle everything that I touch, including the hair that gets cut. It actually goes to composting. So I'm a little bit different than some other salons. I know that hair salons can be really damaging to the environment, but I really care about that. I use more natural and eco-friendly products. Smaller businesses is what I like to support. And I just like my space to be really safe for everybody to come and just unwind and relax and feel their best. So
Good. And then it also requires that the use is suitable for the property in question. Obviously, this property was set up perfectly for what you're using it for. So obviously, it's suitable for the property in question, or you conform to all applicable requirements of this ordinance. We've just reviewed most of those. Proposed use shall not substantially change the character of any surrounding residential neighborhood. I mean, we're talking more specifically even her next door neighbors. Again, we're not changing anything that's out there. We're not changing the look of the building for all intents and purposes, other than a small sign. You would have no idea that you're even in there, other than all the noxious odors from the cars. No, just kidding. We're not, in terms of effects on street traffic and safety, adequate sidewalks exist out there. There's actually very much more than adequate on-street parking out there. Despite that, I mean, every time I've been out there, there's
enough room for like 4 or 5 cars.
There's always room out there every time I've been out there. And in terms of off-street parking, we have not only the parking in the rear, but we also have an available 2 spots directly across the road in the restaurant parking lot.
And there's also access from both the front and back of the house via a sidewalk. So whether someone parks across the street at the restaurant or on the side on the street parking or behind our garage in that one single space, there's a direct line of sidewalk that is, of course, safe for them to come right to the door for the hopefully salon door.
And that sidewalk is shown on the plans that were submitted as part of your application. You're not creating a significant hazard to public health or safety, and the proposed use is suitable for the site, considering the sort of the steep slopes, mature woodlands, wetlands, floodplains. None of those exist. So in our estimation, we've met every requirements of your ordinances to enable you to grant a special exception. And with that,
Any
I open up to you for
questions?
questions.
Ms. Ritter?
No.
Ms. Lee?
None.
Attorney Shaw?
Yeah, one question. You said the space already existed when you bought the house. What was the prior use of that space?
I think it was listed as a dining room. There's not like the equipment back there for a
But it's
salon.
just a separate, for some reason, it's separate so it might have been an addition.
Yeah,
for-
it looks like it was an addition. There's like newer kind of siding.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it was an addition, but
Yep.
just happened to have that bathroom, and that works for me with the State Board of Cosmetology, the separate entrance. You're not allowed to walk through any part of the house to be in the salon with the State Board of Cosmetology. So it worked on all the levels for me.
That's the only question I had.
Ms. Heller?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions from members of the audience? Seeing none, do you have any closing comments to offer?
Thank you guys so much for hearing us today.
Okay, we'll go off the record and we'll go outside.
Thank you.
Go out that way.
We'll go that way.
That
It's too
way.
dangerous out there.
Is it?
The
big ladder
aliens have
outside
brought their
the
equipment
door.
over
They're
there.
not willing to make a decision.
We were like, okay.
Hopefully.
First
It
chair.
was good bringing up the, it was good bringing up the sidewalks. I forgot to ask you about
This chair should be on
that. Got my back.
No. That's where my cousin is right now.
Oh, yeah?
Is this yours?
Yeah, they're just for the drawings.
They're big. You have to really open them up there.
I already got mine.
Now, did you?
What are we on here? What's this called?
Appeal of Mary.
I'm
Hey,
on
Jeannie,
the
we're
wrong place.
back on the record.
Told you where I'm at.
Hear a motion from a member of the board.
Yes, I motion that we approve the salon, AKA beauty shop at 904 Weston Place, with the following conditions. And those are as testified, the parking, your hours of operation, that you'll have no employees, and also that you will get any other required licenses, whatever you need from the city to proceed.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
You call the roll, Ms. Heller?
Ms. Ritter,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Novotnik.
Yes. Your application has been approved.
Thank
Good
you
luck
so
with
much.
the project and your business.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of, what is the appeal period, 30 or 45 days?
The decision comes out within 45 days, and then there's an appeal period of 30 days. But there was no one here interested,
Right,
correct? So,
exactly.
Is there any reason that we can't get going? I mean,
No,
obviously
you-
at our risk.
yeah, you can contact the zoning office and you can proceed at your own risk. I think that's the normal procedure, darling, correct? Yeah.
The only question would be, can we get a building permit before that 115 days?
If you, yeah, you can submit and we would review it and, you know, again, it's at your own risk.
Okay.
But yes.
Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.
See you next month for the next salon.
You must get your hair done a lot.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah, can't you tell?
Yeah, exactly. That's
It's a real quick cut.
yeah.
Have a good night.
You too.
The next item on the agenda is that of 623 West Union Boulevard. When was the property posted with the yellow sign?
It was posted on the 16th.
Okay. And Ms. Heller, could you read the basis of the appeal?
The appeal at 623 West Union Boulevard is submitted by Latoya Harris for a special exception to operate a child daycare center. They requested a special exception and all associated variances. The parcel is located in the RT High Density Residential Zoning District.
You may proceed.
Thank you. So I'm Latoya Harris. This will be my first business. I've been in the childcare field for 15 years. I've worked with different population of kids. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I need to spell my name? I just started. Should I spell my name for
Now
you?
that you're good.
Okay.
Just make sure you speak in the microphone.
Okay, so I've worked with adolescents from children from 3 months to 18 years old. I've worked with behavioral kids, IDD, as well as dual diagnosis. I currently have a bachelor's degree in human service, and I have checked to ensure that I meet all requirements to be an owner operator of the daycare. Right now, I'm asking for an approval to open the daycare at 623 West Union. My hours of operation will be Monday through Friday from 6 o'clock a.m. to 5:30 p.m. My intentions is to operate at 65 kids capacity. I propose that we'll operate, like I said, Monday through Friday, 6 to 5:30. We will be offering meals. We do have ample play space, along with we will have comprehensive learning program that's tailored to each child's development needs. My goal is to provide high quality service to the families within the local Bethlehem area. I also do live in Bethlehem. I have children of my own. I'm CPR certified for child and adult. And as mentioned, I do meet all requirements for the state level licensing. Yes. In regards to the parking plan, it was submitted. So for this space, I have 3 total. I do have an ADA space. It's 3 total for the entire building. 1 is allocated for me, and then I have 9 parking spaces for drop off. I have allocated for myself. 3 of them are for staff. I will only have 6 staff, which meets the regulations. And then it's 12 per parking spot per kid, 12 kids per parking lot with the ADA space. I do have marked on the parking plan where each space is for this location as well. I also submitted the inside of the building, with each room is designated for. And it's also on the floor plan proposal. So I would have an infant room serving only 4 at maximum. I'll have 2 classrooms, 1 indoor play space and an office. And then outdoor play space will be the park. There's a local park that I'll be utilizing for the outdoor play space. I just need to find the address. I apologize. So the outdoor play space is located at Fairview Park, which is 415, 427 4th Avenue in Bethlehem. So all staffing, I will have qualified staff and experienced childcare educators to maintain appropriate staff to child ratios. I will have a total of 6 employees in one day. As mentioned, I will comply with the local and state and federal regulations regarding licensing and safety standards and staff qualifications. Will implement and have implemented safety protocols, including secure entry systems, regular health and safety inspections, and emergency procedures, cleaning and sanitizing, so maintaining a clean and hygienic environment, and following strict cleaning protocols to sanitize the toys, as well as parent communication, establishing and fostering communication amongst the parents. In addition to that, I know in the community, there's not many daycare centers in this area. I think that it would be a great addition to the community. That is why I think that it would be great to have an approval for the special exception for the daycare. Do you guys have any questions? I apologize. I'm nervous if I was.
Don't be nervous.
When
We're
you
nice.
when you open in a business, they never tell you this part.
Good point.
Yes, it is.
But to add, it is a passion of mine. I love what I do. I really do.
Ms. Ritter?
No.
Ms. Lee?
I'm just curious. This is just about your classrooms.
Yes.
I see that you have 2 and they're divided, I guess, by a wall or doorway or whatever.
Yes.
But I was just curious as how you're going to set up the space.
I know.
Because you said a total of 65 kids all at once. That's your plan to grow it to.
Yes, to 65. So the plan is to grow to 65. Currently, this building is vacant. So the goal is to be at a 65 capacity. So these 2 rooms that's in these 2 pages, they're huge. They can be divided. This is one room, and then this is a totally different room at the same size.
Okay.
So it can be broken down. And then there is where you see this pink room. That's another room. And then there's that, this pink room is another room. And then, I'm sorry, there was a missing one. There's another space in here, but there is another room allocated for a play space. So that is the goal, 65 capacity. Yes.
Okay.
A couple questions.
Sure.
I have, if in the event that you get the approval from this board, do you then start the process with the state as far as the state approving it and inspecting?
Yeah, so I already started that. I had initially had licensing, but the location where I was going to open, it did not work out. So I was already it was already, I already had an inspection date and everything. So I had to go and find a new location. So I meet all of my requirements for state. I just needed to find a new location, which I did.
My next question, I'm looking at the picture where you're showing us the existing parking, I guess it's called the parking plan.
Yes.
I'm curious, you mentioned that the children will be going to a park close by.
Yes.
Is that, could you point out where that might be on this picture?
So we won't be able to see it on this photo here. I'm sorry. I don't know to add that, but there's
You mentioned it was on 4th Avenue.
Yes, it is.
And this building is.
West Union.
And what's next to you? 7th?
It's 7th.
5th?
So it's that's 7th.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
So
it's
a
only
block-
2 blocks. Yes, it's
Couple
a two,
blocks
it's
over.
2 blocks. Yes.
Behind the parking area
Yes.
to get there.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I had a hard time picturing where this building was.
I am too.
Yeah.
So do you know where the district court is of Bethlehem? I believe it's the district court. It's right there. It's literally in the district court, a part of that complex, just right in the back of the district court.
I know where Dave and Wayne is.
I don't know if it's
Oh, you're
there,
down
but it
to-
used to
down
be
to-
step by step.
So if you're at the intersection of 8th and Union,
Okay.
Yeah.
before you would get to Dave and Wayne, It would be on the right-hand side,
Okay.
like about probably halfway between the light and the car place at the
I
bottom.
think there's
Right.
another
Okay.
office
Because-
building across
Oh,
from you.
okay. I know what you mean.
It's
Yeah.
it's all residential, yes, but right. I don't know if you guys are familiar. The company was Step by Step previously owned, but it's right in the back of the district building, so we're all connected, literally, to the same building.
The building does set back off the street.
Yes.
So you could drive by it and not really
Okay.
Notice.
notice so
Oh,
much.
oh.
because
Right.
Parking is
There.
in the front.
And you
Yes,
have
it's
you have a
ample.
lot in the front.
Yeah, I know.
And
What,
then you go around back and you've got entrance, you've got
Yes.
doors,
yeah.
and then there's kind of an alleyway and then a house behind it.
Houses, yes.
Houses behind it.
Yeah, I know building trade she's
Okay.
talking about.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions?
Thank you. I do appreciate you guys.
Well,
taking the
we
time
now
to
give
meet
him a
with
chance.
me.
Yeah, I actually
Sorry.
get that.
He has questions.
Yeah. Now you're in trouble. No, I'm
Oh.
kidding.
I was like, okay.
Just to satisfy the requirements, I think there's a setback. So a daycare center shall have a minimum lot area of 6,000. This is well above that, and shall be set back 10 feet from an abutting single-family dwelling. I think there's a house behind you, but I'm going to say it's well more than 10
So,
feet.
yes. So
Okay.
it's not. Yeah, there's no house right behind. Not
Right.
that close. No.
Yeah. Okay. So house over 10 feet away. All right. We covered that. We covered that. We covered that. So is there a state requirement for the proximity of the outdoor play area?
No.
Are you not required to have anything on site and you can have it anywhere?
So the state requirement is only a play space. It could be indoor. It could be outdoor.
Okay.
So yes, that's
right,
the
so-
requirement.
And
either
you'll
or.
meet the requirement for play space with your indoor space.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So the requirement of fencing the outdoor space
No.
wouldn't even apply to you. 'cause it's
Unless
not
it was
required.
at my discretion.
Gotcha. And then you're not in the CB, so you don't have to have the drop off area, but you do anyway.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's all the requirements then.
Ms. Heller?
I don't have any questions. Thank
Oh,
you.
I just have one more question, Darla.
Oh,
Do you agree with the parking calculation?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, Paige Stefanelli did a thorough evaluation.
Okay.
They have way more parking on this lot than
Okay.
what zoning
Just-
requires.
Okay, agrees with parking is sufficient. Parking calc for property. Okay. That was my last question.
Very
Sorry.
good.
So now, thank you so much for taking the time and meeting with me
Okay, we'll
today.
make
Well-
A1 the application and attachment.
Yes, yep, yep.
I won't admit that.
Any questions from all the members of the audience here?
It's who remain.
Apparently not.
No interest. You don't feel like interjecting? No.
No interjection?
You have no kids that you might be able to use this? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Listen,
You can speak in support of you.
Yeah,
You won't say.
yes.
you guys need childcare.
Okay, there you go. Look at that.
Sounds wonderful.
Shall I leave the door open so you can hear the.
Here we come again.
Sounds familiar.
Bet.
Play my euphonium part.
Sorry, we didn't get the
The
door.
license
Oh, okay.
requirements.
All right, we're back in the record. Can I hear a proposal from a member of the board or a motion?
I move to approve the appeal of Latoya Harris for a special exception to operate a child daycare center. Our one condition would be that you make sure that you have proof of licensing requirements requested by zoning.
Yes, no.
Second,
Ms. Heller, could you call the roll?
Ms. Lee,
yes.
Ms. Ritter,
Yes.
Mr. Novotnik.
Yes. Good luck with your daycare.
Thank you so
All the
much. I
best.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
good luck.
Thank you. So I get something in the mail.
Yeah, you got a decision
Okay,
mail,
official
but you can just
start.
contact the zoning office and they'll walk you through what you need to do next.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Y'all have a good evening.
you too. Be careful out there with the party.
Did you give them a copy of this email
To the members?
to the
Oh,
applicant?
So this is,
Craig emailed it to
this is.
them.
all
Okay,
about
all right.
So I have extra copies.
Yeah, I
They
just want to, I
don't-
just want them
I
to
have extra-
answer that as
Yeah,
part of
okay.
this. I know it's hearsay, but the board,
Yeah.
It's cute. I thought the name
Tiny
was
hands,
cute.
tiny
There we go.
hands.
She was nice. I like the name of the house.
That's okay. I just Google you. Thanks. No, I can you too. You're right.
Exactly.
Okay, our last item on the agenda is at the various addresses on East Sixth Street. Could I hear the particulars of the appeal, please?
Certainly. This is the appeal of Philip Malich on behalf of CTHL3 Inc. for a dimensional variance to construct a retaining wall that exceeds the maximum vertical drop per terrace. 5 feet is permitted, 9.51 feet is the maximum height proposed, and 5.35 feet is the average height proposed. This project is located in the RT High Density Residential Zoning District.
Thank you. And when was the property posted?
So, sir, that's an issue we were just discussing. I don't believe that we have proof of posting to present tonight.
Actually, Craig did that. The card was not picked up. He posted the property September 19.
Perfect.
And he has pictures. I don't have copies of the pictures, but he did.
Look,
it's
that's
fine.
fine. That's fine.
I went by. It's on the dumpster, actually.
Yeah, there
So,
was, I
yeah.
think there was something else he tried to attach
do,
it to
yeah,
a tree or
so.
something, but there's not a lot out there
No,
right now, so.
I've gotten used to going and checking them, so. And sometimes I stop at the Nest for a beer or something when I do my round, my loop,
There
so
there
it's
you
good.
go.
Can we do one thing preliminarily? So were you provided with a copy of an email from a resident named Kathy Zavala?
I just received a copy of that earlier while we were sitting here, actually.
Okay.
From Mr. Malich, who's sitting next to me.
Okay, so we received an email. Darlene has provided us with copies. You just need to tell me what the board has done in the past is we'll admit these as a city exhibit. The applicant's attorney is free to object and say it's hearsay. And what we'll say is, we'll take it for what it's worth. We'd like you to address it, but we understand you can't cross-examine this person. And we take that into account when we weigh the evidence. So does the board want to follow that procedure again tonight? Give the applicant a chance to address it, knowing that they can't cross-examine this person, and you'll weigh it as you see fit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And just, there were two. That
Oh, is there a second
is
one?
right
Yeah.
there, yes.
Okay.
And that is, where's his name?
Roseanne
Roseanne Rivera.
Oh, okay, so we'll make that C2
So
then,
that one?
the
I think we
Rivera.
saw both.
Okay,
Yeah, and just for purposes of the record, I will make that hearsay objection.
Yeah.
I think we will address it. Too.
yeah, that's fine. We'll overrule it, but we'll acknowledge that it will only be given the weight it should because you can't cross-examine them. But we also ask, if you can address these, that would be very helpful.
Sure. And I'd also be clear, I don't believe that by admitting these letters. It would
You're gonna
give
have to
these-
speak in the microphone. We have,
I'm sorry.
we have other
Yeah.
Concerts
concerts
going
going
on.
on here.
I would just say, I don't believe that these letters would give those individuals party status to this hearing. So I would
No,
also make
they're
that
not
point as
parties.
well.
We're just taking them. We got emails, but we'd like the issue to be addressed,
Very-
just so we can think about it if they've raised something that you should be talking about.
Sure, very well.
Fair enough?
Yep. Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Please
So-
proceed.
Thank you. So first of all, my name is Mark Eastburn. This is my first time in front of this board, so I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm here tonight for Attorney Joe Piparato, who's been representing the applicant throughout this process. Joe couldn't be here, so it's nice to meet you all. But as you just heard, this concerns 3 properties located at 1218, 1224, and 1226 East 6th Street. This is lots 7, 8, and 9 on the City Lights development, which is formerly known as Riverview Heights. And what's at issue for this particular hearing tonight is we're seeking a dimensional variance from section 1316.01 subsection E of the zoning ordinance, seeking permission to construct a retaining wall that exceeds the 5-foot maximum that's permitted in the zoning ordinance. So if I could first, I'm here with Michael Gula from Van Cleef Engineering, but I ask him a few questions. Before I get to that, I do have a small exhibit booklet I'd like to hand out. And I think this contains exhibits that were already contained with the application, but I'm just going to have Mr. Gula go through this during his testimony. If I just have 1 second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give you a copy as well.
Thank you.
Do you like copies? I do not.
Yeah, we'll keep one for the file. Thank you.
That'd be great.
That
Thanks.
has my name, no email address.
Thank you, sir.
We're also going to refer to this larger exhibit here. We could do
Oh,
whichever way is comfortable.
I can get this.
Do we have an easel?
Yeah, I can get that. I didn't think about
I
that.
can
Yeah.
put it on.
We'll grab
I'll
the
get an
easel.
I'll get an easel.
Thank you.
And then do we want to make that like 4 then? So you have 3 in this packet?
Yes.
Well, that's a different exhibit. That'll be A4.
The main exhibit, the grading plan is exhibit 2 in the packet I just handed up. There is a separate exhibit on the opposite side. So maybe mark both of them as 4.
Okay.
However the board would like to do it.
All right. That's fine.
Do you want me to wait with the questioning until?
Yeah, well, let Darlene get back. And then if you can then at the end of the meeting, just take those off the board and hand them in.
Oh, the actual exhibits?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that any problem, Mike? If we leave those actual exhibits here?
Except this.
as an
Yeah.
exhibit?
Oh, we do.
Okay, then that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Since there's no one here to participate, we'll be fine with the 11 by 17s.
All right. So, Mr. Gould, I'm just going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Sure.
Where are you currently employed?
Van Cleef Engineering Associates.
And what's your position there?
I'm the survey department manager. I'm a licensed PLS. So
Sure, if you can.
I
Hard to
can't
see.
see
Yeah.
anything.
I see lines.
We can see the paper.
Thank you. Thank
I have
you.
these as well.
That's
Okay,
better.
it's okay.
Oh,
That was the plan,
I'm
right?
sure
Keep us
11 by
guessing.
17s if you wouldn't mind.
Is that the old plan?
It's a new one.
Okay.
Hold on to that one unless it comes up.
Okay.
You made us admit it.
Good point.
okay. So this is
We
not
have
in the
that.
packet, and so we'll make this A4.
Yeah, we
Is that
have that.
the?
That's exhibit 2, I think, actually.
Oh, it's 2 already.
Yeah. So I
Oh.
think that's already in the packet.
Okay,
Apologies.
no problem. Then we don't need that.
So if I could just continue.
Sure.
So what's your involvement with the City Lights development plan?
I'm the surveyor of record for the current city light plan that was approved by the city of Bethlehem in 2022. I am also intimately involved with the layout of the proposed houses and the grading for the plan.
Okay. So in terms of the exhibit booklet I just introduced or had handed up, if I could ask you first to look to exhibit 1. And first of all, do you recognize what exhibit 1 depicts?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
Appears to be a Google map of the property in question. It's East 6th Street and East 7th Streets in South Bethlehem.
Okay. And on this map on exhibit 1, is the site of where we're talking about, kind of towards the bottom middle of the page, labeled 1218 East 6th Street.
Correct.
Okay. And is that the general location of where this proposed retention wall would be?
Yes, it is.
Then if I could then ask you to turn to the next exhibit, Exhibit 2. And do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
And what is this?
This is the overall grading plan of the aforementioned approved City Lights development plan. The area in red depicts the proposed retaining wall in question this evening.
So that's the area kind of circled in red in the top left corner.
That's correct.
Okay. We'll come back to this in a second, but then you can turn to Exhibit 3 then. All right. And so do you recognize what's depicted in Exhibit 3?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what's that?
This would be a front view, a cross-sectional view of the retaining wall. It shows essentially the length of the wall, approximately 143 feet in length, and then it shows how high the wall would be at certain aspects. So the bottom would be the ground elevation at any given point, and then the top would be the top of the wall. So it shows you the varying heights of the wall as it goes along the property line.
Okay. And does Exhibit 3 fairly and accurately depict the dimensions of this proposed retaining wall that's being proposed?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Earlier, did you hear me state that the maximum height set forth in the ordinance of a retaining wall is 5 feet?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about the dimensions of what's being proposed here. So can you just walk the board through what the different dimensions are, height, length,
Sure.
such as that?
On the bottom of this sheet, everything is spelled out pretty clearly. The area would be the face area of the wall. So it would basically be the simple dimension would be length times height. Obviously, this is a varying height wall. So the face area of the wall is 768 square feet. The length of the wall is 143.5 feet from beginning to end. The average height across the entire wall is 5.35. And at its tallest point, the wall would be just over 9 feet.
Okay. Now, if the maximum set forth in the zoning ordinance is 5 feet, then at the maximum height, would it be about 4.5 feet over that 5 foot max?
That's correct.
Okay. And then how about if you compare that 5 foot max to the average height of the fence as a whole?
Well, the average height of the wall across the entire wall is only just over 5 feet. So it's 5.35 feet.
Okay. Now, do you believe that, taking everything into consideration for this particular site, that constructing a retaining wall greater than 5 feet in height is necessary for this project?
Definitely.
And can you just get into some detail about why that's the case, or at least why you believe that's the case?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, the property is located on the South Mountain. So everybody in Bethlehem is familiar with the slopes on the South Mountain. It's a steep slope area. So you would not be able to build a house in this area without some kind of a retaining wall, likely, specifically in this area. The other factor is, if you notice where the one house is, which includes the steepest portion of the wall, it's on the edge of the cul-de-sac. So at the cul-de-sac, the roadway, we're required to provide a turnaround area. The roadway comes out a little bit, pushes the house back a little closer to the adjoining property line. And that's the reason at that point that the wall becomes a little taller, as opposed to the standard 5 foot required. But the existing topography is really what forces us to put walls in and have a suitable lot for someone to purchase and live in.
Okay. So the zoning ordinance contains certain criteria that an applicant seeking a variance needs to fulfill. So I'm just going to ask you a few kind of specific questions about those requirements. Do you believe that on this particular area of the plan, there's any unique physical circumstances or conditions, again, specifically where this retaining wall is being proposed?
Yeah, well, I think there's two things specifically. One is the existing topography, as previous stated. We have steep slopes here. So in excess of 25%. The other thing would be its proximity to the adjoining property line. So in order to keep any proposed grading away from the adjoining property line, the wall is there so that we have untouched land to the adjoining property line.
I think you've already touched on this, but do you believe that the applicant can construct a retaining wall in compliance with that 5 foot maximum?
In compliance with the 5 foot maximum?
Basically, where the maximum height would be less than 5 feet.
No, not ultimately. No, we could not.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you about, there's a prior version of this plan approved sometime in the early 2000s, I believe. Are you aware of that?
I am.
Okay. And in that prior version of the plan, I believe that there was a slightly different depiction for this proposed wall. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In the prior plan, how was this wall proposed on the plan?
Well, in the prior plan, there were 2 walls that were proposed. They were proposed at a 5-foot maximum. To be completely honest, I don't believe that the plan was excessively engineered. So I think that, at that time, this is over 20 years ago, for detail and some greater engineering. And I don't believe that those walls could have existed or been built according to plan, to be completely honest.
Okay. And just to be clear, and I think about this as a lawyer, I'm not an engineer. When you say 2 walls, you're talking about basically stacked on top of each other?
That is correct.
Okay. And do you believe that what's being proposed in the plan before the board tonight is an improvement off of that 2002 plan?
Absolutely.
Okay. Getting just back to the requirements from the ordinance, do you believe that this variance would help the applicant make reasonable use of the property?
Yes, I do.
Was this a self-created hardship?
No, I don't believe it was.
And can you think of any way that if the board were to grant this variance, it would alter the essential character of the neighborhood?
No, absolutely not.
Can you think of any way that granting this variance would impair the use or development of any neighboring property?
No,
Can you think of any way that granting the variance would be detrimental to the public welfare?
no,
And do you believe that the relief that's being requested is the minimum variance that would afford relief?
yes, it is.
Have you or are you aware of whether any other representative of the applicant have discussed this proposal for just this retaining wall with city officials?
Yeah, it is my understanding that it was discussed with the city staff, and it was their recommendation that we come and get everything squared away with the board.
And did city officials, as far as you know, actually support this requested variance?
That is correct.
Okay. I believe this is all the questions I have for Mr. Gula, in case any of the board members have any questions for him.
Yeah, I have one question. What happens if you don't put the wall up? Like, how is it going to be a detriment to the neighborhood?
Well, if we don't put the wall up, I believe that you wouldn't be building a house there on those lots. So I think the wall would be a requirement in order to provide someone with a proper livable space, meaning a backyard area, proper drainage on the lot, those things. So I think in order for it to be a suitable, habitable lot, the wall is necessary.
So it actually protects the house?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And also, how does it affect the water? Like coming down the hill and then there's the wall.
Mhm.
I don't know. Water, does it just sit there at the wall? Does it go underneath?
No,
Does it go to the properties below?
the wall doesn't affect or change the drainage patterns that would be there without the wall. So the wall, any water coming down the hill would flow either over the wall or follow the contour as it is. We're not changing the grading of the hill in any form by the wall. We're really just changing at the bottom of the wall to allow for a flatter space for basically people to walk around their house. The top of the wall would blend in with the existing grade. So we're not diverting water by putting a wall in.
Okay.
Are any homes currently built on either of these cul-de-sacs?
Yes. Or excuse me, not at the cul-de-sac bulb itself, but there are homes currently inhabited and built, and homes currently under construction.
But I'm just looking at this diagram. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering where are the homes currently built and where they still have to be developed? They're showing homes on this. I was just, if you could just point it out here.
I think I can help you.
Yeah.
I think Phil can answer too, if you need him to.
Okay, you want me to answer now? Sure. Okay, sure.
You know
I'm gonna need you to explain the.
Guessing.
Could you just identify yourself for the stenographer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm Phil Malich. I represent the developer and submitted the application to the city.
Okay.
So we do have several houses under construction, and as far as exactly how many are actually occupied right now, I can't really tell you because that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but we are trying to move people in. They're all rentals, but we own all the lots.
Right, I was just curious as,
Okay, so-
yeah, just which ones have been developed at this point, or are in the
So-
process of being developed?
Correct. So these two sets of buildings down here are constructed, and these are actually the units that are subject of the emails that you received down here. So if you look
Oh,
at the
okay.
photograph.
Oh, is that the
photograph is
photo
taken down
of
here in
those
this
homes?
alley, Looking at the back of these houses here.
This here.
Correct. Yes.
Is
So
those-
that is actually this unit right here.
Oh, okay.
Phil, when you said these units, you mind identifying the
Sure,
lot
I
number?
Identify the lot numbers. So those are lots 1 through 4 on the plan. And that's important for what we're talking about here because the wall that we're talking about is over here.
Right.
on lot
Right,
70.
and this doesn't need a wall?
It does need a wall, but not subject to a variance from the zoning board. Okay, so there is actually a wall to be constructed here. And as Mike alluded to, we've been working out the details with how to get these walls built in the best way possible with the city over the last couple of weeks. We picked up the permits for this wall today that is adjacent to those units. So that should be going in as soon as possible. That is not germane to the board tonight.
Right, yep.
That's all right,
That
I'm
doesn't
just,
need any relief. So those units are constructed. We have one unit, one set of units constructed here. Okay. And we have a couple units, I believe, under construction on the south side of 7th Street. But as far as exactly where those are at in the process, and if people are moved in, I can't really tell you.
Right, yeah, that's
that's
fine.
okay, that's okay.
Do you have to build any walls on the lower cul-de-sac on the drawing?
This is actually the upper cul-de-sac.
Okay.
So it's lower on the plan. So
Yeah.
this is right outside the mountain going this way.
Okay.
So we will, and this wall needs a little bit of work. There's a larger wall here. This kind of looks scary, but this wall is actually only 4 or 5 feet on this plan tall, so it's not really tall. But you can see that there's a lot of grading that has to happen
Mhm.
Yeah.
behind this wall.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid that too. So we're in the process of working with the city on how to best resolve that.
Okay.
So we have 3 walls, and
Mhm.
it was kind of an a la carte menu when we worked this out with the city. The wall 1 permits were going to be issued. The wall 2 application needed to be submitted here. And wall 3, the city sent us back to the drawing board to figure out something better. So we're in that process right now. So
Okay.
we might at some point be back to you for wall 3 once we can kind of come to terms with what the city's really looking for there as far as what the best solution is. But we're not at that point yet. Mike's working on that. Okay.
All right.
So
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Cool,
No,
very
that's
good.
great.
Thank you.
And I believe that explanation might have addressed the 2 emails that we've admitted to. I'm not sure if you have any further questions from the board about the emails from the residents.
Well,
Uh,
well, the clarification was good in that the photograph that we got really isn't subject to the area of this wall.
But they're discussing
Yeah.
the location of a wall that doesn't need zoning relief.
Yes,
Is
correct.
I think what the answer is, right?
Yes.
Because those are going to comply. Okay.
Yes.
And with
Yes.
permits, I think were recently just obtained.
Right.
Too.
I just have a few questions.
Yep, go ahead.
So if I look at exhibits 1 and 2, what is actually in an area where I would have a view shed of this wall?
Maybe if you were at the very extreme end of the cul-de-sac on 6th Street, you would be able to see it. You'd certainly be able to see it from your rear window if you occupied one of those 2 homes. And
One of the 2 homes that you're selling.
correct.
In other words,
Well, the addresses that are listed
right.
in the variance, those you certainly would be able to see the wall
Right.
from.
I guess my
Um,
thought is there any actual non-owner in this development that's going to see this wall?
I would think that's very unlikely.
Okay. And is the land, when I look at A1, the aerial, is the land beyond this undevelopable because it becomes so steep?
It's very steep. How developable it is, I don't know, but it's very steep and wooded and mostly owned by Lehigh University, I believe.
Well, there is a parcel to the south that was owned by this developer, and it's to be dedicated to Lehigh or retained in open
Okay.
space or something. The extent of the development that was permitted is the extent of these 2 cul-de-sacs that we
Right.
see right
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Correct.
I guess my question is kind of going to, I'm not even sure who's going to see this to be able to discern that it's greater than 5. At least it looked like that to me. And then, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I take the length of the wall and I multiply it by the average height that it exceeds 5 feet, 0.35, does that approximately give me how much of this wall is actually over 5 feet? So about 50 square feet by my math. Does that sound right? Did you see what I'm doing?
Yeah. It's a very small amount. It's
Okay.
nearly half of the wall complies with the height.
Right, okay, that's what I was that's what I
So
thought
it's-
that
it's
number
nearly
showed.
half. So it's really,
Yeah.
and the portion that, and those are the portions that are going to be visible, quite honestly. You know, the portion that's going to be higher is the portion that, which is in the corner of the wall, which is generally, if anyone is familiar with walls, those are usually the taller sections, you know? So it's really the corner of the house. The rear corner of the house is where the taller section of the wall is. Mostly everything that's visible is compliant.
Yeah, so essentially, at the end of the day, the people who live in these houses will look out their backyard and they'll see the wall, and that's probably about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. That's what it seemed like when I was looking at this.
correct.
Okay, and then one last question. I know those folks on the emails were talking about a compliant wall. Does whatever you do on this lot, does it have no bearing on the folks that are below the opposite side of the cul-de-sac that sent the emails?
Yeah, I could answer that
Oh,
on
go ahead.
behalf of the applicant. I believe what they're concerned with in the email is this wall going to be built properly, not cause problems?
Right.
All of these walls will be engineered modular block walls. So the city permitting department will see engineered signed and sealed drawings for the walls.
But there are also properties with other walls between them and this lot anyway. Is that right? Okay.
And that wall, my point is that the wall that they are concerned with, which is the wall that we received the permits for today, that is a fully engineered
Right,
wall. It's
right.
not just us stacking rocks out there
Right.
to retain it.
Yeah, and I guess my point is, if they were concerned about a wall, it'd be a wall that this board isn't concerned about because you don't need relief for it.
It is a totally different wall.
Yeah. Okay. That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Ms. Heller?
I don't really have a question. It's been challenging at the site because of the slopes. As was mentioned in the testimony, this was approved more than 20 years ago, I think. So it's doesn't conform to the kind of zoning provisions that we have right now. Our goal is really just to minimize the earth disturbance and protect the properties.
Right. And oftentimes, is it correct that using this single wall probably serves the purpose that Ms. Heller just mentioned?
That's
as
correct.
trying to regrade more. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
And the concern about the height of the wall is obviously safety. Like you don't want somebody falling off
Right.
a 10-foot wall or whatever. So that's something that, engineering and building look at as well. But this seems to be the least disturbance in that area.
Excuse me.
Right.
Something going on.
Let's
Okay.
see. Any questions from members of the audience? Apparently not. Do you have any closing comments?
No, I mean, first of all, I would just ask to admit each of the exhibits that we marked 1 to 3.
They're admitted.
And then I referenced the 2002 plan to the extent, I'm willing to mark that as an exhibit 2, maybe as applicant 4.
Yeah, just make it 4 and hand it in.
Sure.
That'll be fun.
And then depending on how you think of it, it's either there's a 5-foot maximum. At most, it's 4.51 feet over that maximum. The average is much closer to that 5 foot, 5.35. We can make the argument that's a de minimis variance, something along those lines. And I think what you were referring to, the narrative spells out, is that 83.59 feet of this fence, which is about 58%, just over half, exceeds the 5-foot requirement. So almost half the fence, this retaining wall will be compliant. So I would just ask for the board to consider those comments and respectfully grant the request of relief.
All right, thank you. We'll
Thank
go
you.
off the record.
How about you out first? Because Terry's chair bumps my chair.
Yeah, push it down.
Hopefully nobody else was listening.
I know, how about it?
Hey, Dean, we're back on the record. Oh, you can hear me anyway.
Oh, we can hear you.
Can I hear a motion from a member of the board?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the dimensional variance to construct a retaining wall at 1218, 1224, 1226 East 6th Street, and that it is subject to the city engineering requirements.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Could you call the roll, Ms. Heller?
Ms. Ritter?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Novotnik?
Yes. The application's been approved. Good luck with the project.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's nice to meet you all too.
Oh, you
Here.
too. Does this stay here? Are they taking that?
Title stuff from Ron.
I thought you said we need to
Okay,
keep-
I'll have Steph send it directly. We sent it to him to look at. I haven't heard either. I'll just send it to you direct.